And it says I'm live. What is going on, everybody? It sounds like there's a slight echo in here, but we're still working on it. I just got some little panel things to hopefully help with that. But I was going to do a little bit of work, which I'm doing technically. I guess this could be considered work, but I was going to do a little bit of stuff. But I figured I would jump on here and for maybe 30 minutes or so, just answer some questions about basic training. So what's up, Pickle Panther? What's up, Tyler Nolan? What's up, Noka? What's up, Natalie? What's up? Yes, it's Michaela. Is it? I was thinking Michaela. What's up, Nicholas? What's up for the memes? Finally here again. I was going to. So I recorded a vlog a couple of weeks ago. So it was like 2 weeks ago. And because of this whole move and stuff, I haven't been able to edit it. And so before I edit it tonight, I figured, I wanted to do like a little Q&A about basic training. So you guys can ask me anything kind of related towards basic training, what certain things are like or the processes or whatever. So I will read the comments on this right now. So let me go ahead and see what you guys are... First question I'm going to read. If you have to poop, do they make you get messy? So believe it or not, that is actually a concern that some people have with how you're going to use the bathroom sometimes. And my big advice, there's like a video that I did, like weird tips for basic training. And one of those was use the bathroom every single chance you get, even if you don't have to use the bathroom, because there'll be a lot of times when you don't get the chance to use the bathroom or you're doing something. And people will pee themselves. You might have some people that will poop themselves, but generally it comes down to, do you want to disobey the drill sergeants and then run off into the woods or something and try to go use the bathroom, or run off to the latrine because you can't take it any longer, or are you going to poop your pants? Anyways, IPAOO. Wow, I'm surprised I made it on time. What's up, everybody? What's up, my guy? What's up? Matt, I'm video chatting with my girlfriend, but you're more important. Your boy Jacob, no. Go back to video chatting your girlfriend. My boyfriend's at basic training at Fort Sill right now. It's awesome. It's pronounced Michaela. Okay. Can you bring your own razor to basic? Yes. Yeah, I believe I brought my razors. I don't have the packing list off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure you can pack razors. I think they say to pack disposable ones. If you don't pack razors, you can buy them whenever you get there, but you're not going to buy it immediately. So whenever you first get to reception, they're going to make you like shave. And if you don't have razors, like if you didn't bring them, then you wouldn't be able to shave. You would have to borrow somebody's. But I didn't bring nice razors. I brought really cheap disposable razors, and then at the PX, the first trip, I bought some nicer like Gillette razors. You have the exact same shoes, the Air Force One's high tops. Yeah, they're nice. Y'all like my little my little shoe display? I got an opening slot up top and an opening slot down bottom. It's weird doing this because it's reversed. But yeah, so what's up? Good. What's good, Jesse? Look at the chair. Nice, Matt. Yeah, so my chair, I just got this too. My other chair that's right over here that I normally sit in is actually not the most comfortable thing to sit in for the longest period of time. So I figured I would get one that's actually more comfortable to sit in, because I sit in this chair a lot. It's actually something that's pretty important. So anyways, do you think the new 4-day at the end of basic training being nearly 50 miles is reasonable? If you had me being honest, I would say no. Although I don't think it's nearly 50 miles. I think a lot of people are exaggerating the 50-mile thing. I've kind of seen that already with people doing it. But it's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount. Jumping from having a 10-mile ruck, which is the 16K, and then jumping to 50 miles over the course of 4 days, which is like 12 and a half miles a day or whatever. Like, that's pretty ridiculous, especially at the beginning of your initial military training. You're going to be rucking throughout basic training, but doing a 10 miles a day for a few days is going to tear up a lot of people's feet, because one of the big problems at basic training is that people don't take care of their feet, and they'll get blisters, and they just don't switch out their socks. They don't do the proper foot care, and then if they try to ruck 50 miles when your feet are already blistering, there's gonna be a lot of foot injuries from that. We got Jack Man Mural here with the $4.99 super chat. Hey Matt, is the delayed entry program for the Marine Corps worth it? I mean, that's one of those questions, like, if you want to join and you can get into the delayed entry program, then yes. But if you're not 100% sure that you want to join, then no. Right? So I would say if you want to join, then yes. Do the delayed entry program. What was my favorite thing about basic training? As far as, like, I don't know. So I don't know what was, like, my favorite. So, like, shooting your weapons and stuff, I wouldn't say that was my most favorite thing, because when you have your range days, you're going to spend all day at the range, and you're going to get to shoot for, like, just a few minutes. So, like, the range days, you want to go to basic training, you're like, yeah, we're going to get to shoot, but you don't realize you're going to be waiting for, like, 4 hours on some bleachers, and you're not going to be really allowed to talk or move or anything, and you're going to be sitting on bleachers, and you're going to get to go and shoot. That's going to be done in just a few minutes. Then you're going to come back, and you're basically going to eat lunch and then sit around for a few more hours and then shoot again. So it's not the most fun thing in the world. While you're doing it, it's fun. But marching and calling cadences and stuff is kind of fun. But I would say my favorite thing about basic training was kind of towards the end, once we all kind of got in the groove of it. And then when the drill sergeants, I don't know, like when the drill sergeants were more coolish, right? So probably one of the funniest things, or the most fun things about basic training is at the end of basic training. A lot of times, I mean, this may not happen for you, but for us it did. But a lot of times the drill sergeants will let people make fun of them, right? So they'll get the whole company and everything, they'll all just get gathered around, and people will be mocking the drill sergeants. Like, they'll get up in front of the whole company, there'll be some private, and they will literally just, like, mock the drill sergeants and act like the drill sergeant or whatever. And that was probably one of the most fun things, I guess. Another fun thing would be pugils. It's really hard to pick my most favorite thing, but pugils was a lot of fun. Hey, what's up, Lieutenant Ward from New York? Been watching your videos from Fort Leonard Wood, basic training in November. Oh, you're for my Fort Leonard Wood. 100% ready. I feel I'm the oldest enlisted, 99% sure. You're 30 years old. You're not going to be that old. I promise you, especially you're leaving in November, so a good number of the younger people are going to be gone, so I guarantee you there will be a couple people who are over 30 years old. So what do I recommend for you? Don't worry too much about your age. Like, you're only 5 years older than I am right now. But as I've said before, if you go to base training over the summertime, in early fall, that's going to be a whole lot of high schoolers, right? But, the later you go into the next summer, there'll be more older people. But again, 30 years old, it's not going to be that bad. You're going to be clean shaven. Everybody's going to be shaved head. They're not even really going to notice. Like, there was literally people at mine, and they were like, yeah, I'm 31, 32. And we were like, wow, I did not know you were that old. We thought they were like 24, 25. How are drill sergeants after the shark attack? So, the shark attack nowadays is basically you get rushed off of the buses. It's super, super hectic for a little while. You got to hold the bags and stuff over your head. You pick them up, put them down. They'll have you in the front leaning rest position. They're like super strict, and they're just yelling at you. You don't really know what's going on. They're just all yelling at you, and it's super hectic. But like after the shark attack, which is like that first, I would say, good 1 to 2 hours max of arriving at basic training, what's going to happen is the drill sergeants are going to take you upstairs to your barracks and everything, or you'll go up there, and you'll then just start getting issued your gear. You're going to be doing a lot of paperwork and stuff like the first day or two, because they're going to be issuing things out to you, and you're going to have to be filling it out, and it's just going to be time consuming. And so the drill sergeants, how they are after the shark attack, is just, they're just kind of, you're doing paperwork, and then you're just going to get smoked because one retard's going to, mess something up. Does your time in the Future Soldier program count as time in service? So that doesn't super matter. So what happens is if you're in the reserves and the National Guard, your time in service starts the first time you swear in, okay? If you're active duty, your time in service starts the day you ship to basic training. So this is one of the reasons, I should probably mute this. So this is one of the reasons that I say, like, if you know for sure that you want to join and you're wanting to do reserves or guard, like, go ahead and get that time. Or if you do split ops like my little brother did, like, get that time, because the time when you enlist in the reserves of the Guard, when you swear in, you could leave for basic training 5 months later, and you're going to get those 5 months of time in service and time in grade. So that helps you get promoted faster. What's up, Robbie? Can someone that is deaf be a soldier in the military? No. Do you have to eat your NCOs? I'm not reading that. Drug tests. Now, you'll do P tests and things like that. We got a $1.99 super chat. I leave in December. Will I be ready? Only 18 years old. Yes. If you think you'll be ready, if you watch some of my videos on like how you know you're ready and things like that, then I would say yes. I was in the same battalion as your little brother, 213 Alpha Company, 2nd Platoon. I'm so happy I didn't knock over the camera, because last live stream I knocked over the camera. Is it true they changed basic to 14 weeks? No, right? So they're going to be changing one station unit training to much longer. It was like, gosh, it was like 20 weeks, 22 weeks. I did a video on it, but now I can't remember the exact thing. But 14 weeks is for the current one station unit training for infantry soldiers. So if you're not infantry, it's 9 weeks, 4 days, basically 10 weeks long. Sucks about your motherboard, man. Yeah, so like I was building my PC today, and one of the RAM slots on the motherboard is not working. So, because I had all things, I'm not going to talk about that on right now, but yeah, so I ordered another motherboard. It'll be here tomorrow. I'll fix it all then. Peter Krovchek, cannot pronounce that. I have a condition like asthma. Can I survive basic training? What do you mean like asthma? What's a condition like asthma? If you've been diagnosed with something, then you're going to have to disclose that whenever you go through all the paperwork and stuff. But you can't have asthma and join. I've talked about that before. As long as you were diagnosed with it before age 13 and you don't have it now, you're going to be good to go. Or as long as you've been not diagnosed with it after age 13. That's a better way to say it. But if you have something like asthma, I don't really know what that means. At what point of basic training is the PFT taken? So what's going to happen whenever you... Let me see here. Whenever you first arrive to basic training. So you're going to go to reception, and then you're going to go to basic training. When you leave from reception to basic training, you're going to spend that day there, and generally that next morning is when you take the 111 PT test. There's no pass or fail, really. It's just an assessment for the drill sergeants to see where you're at. So you're going to do a 1 mile run, 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of sit-ups. Again, it's just to see kind of where you're at. And then at the end of red phase, so approximately 3 weeks later, you'll take the first record like 222 PT test, which is a 2 mile run, 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups. So that's going to be how that goes, and then at the end of each phase you'll take a PT test. So at the end of white phase, so approximately 3 weeks later, you'll take another PT test, and then at the end of blue phase, which will be at the end of basic training, so the last week of basic training, you will take the blue phase PT test. I'm new. What's Matt's MOS? I'm a 25 Alpha, which is a signal officer. I've not been to Bullock yet, which means I haven't been qualified on that MOS, because Bullock is Basic Officer Leadership Course. If you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially AIT for officers. I used to be a 25 Bravo. That was my old enlisted MOS. Can female soldiers get their heads buzzed? Yes, they can get their heads buzzed, but if they do that, then they have to abide by the male hair standard. So it's kind of different. It's a little weird when females have male haircuts. Not that that's weird. It's just weird for them because it makes the rules a little bit different as far as the hair standards. How can you keep warm during winter and basic training? You're not going to keep that warm. So the actual clothes that you wear, the uniform, under the uniform that you see on the outside, like the camo uniform, you can have like a thermal uniform under that, and that can be really warm. You can have like a fleece jacket, and those are really warm. So you can pack on extra layers underneath the actual uniform. The gloves that they give you, they're actually work gloves. They're not actually like cold weather gloves, so you're not going to have cold weather gloves, so your hands are going to be cold. But the sleeping bags and stuff that you get in the Army are fantastic. Like, they're really good. You'll have a cold weather sleeping bag, and you'll have a hot weather sleeping bag. And the cold weather one, you will be warm for sure. It's just when you get out of it. The other thing is, when you do go to sleep in your sleeping bag, a lot of people will sleep in the sleeping bag with all their clothes and stuff on, with all their uniforms and stuff on. You don't want to do that in order to stay warm. It sounds almost kind of counterintuitive, but the sleeping bags are really warm. So what you'll do is you can take off your uniform, sleep with the uniform in the sleeping bag, but you just be like, at least just take off your top, right? So at least just take off your top, sleep with that in the sleeping bag, and then whenever you wake up in the morning, you can put the top on to help you stay warm. And since you slept with the sleeping bag, with the top in the sleeping bag, then it will be warm. Do you choose your own gear in the Army? No, you do not. We got Henry Flores over here with a $10 super chat. Love your vids, made me go talk to a recruiter. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things. Like, I feel like some of the videos that I've done has kind of helped with that barrier to entry with going to talk to a recruiter, because I've said multiple times, don't be scared to talk to a recruiter. Like, you don't have to. It's kind of like what I thought. Like, you go into a recruiter's office, and it's like, oh, right, you got to sign some paperwork and stuff. Like, it's perfectly okay if you go and talk to a recruiter. First, you should call them and set a time to go and talk to them, just to make it easier on them. So, go talk to a recruiter and just make it clear that, hey, I just want to get some information. I'm not looking to sign up, like right this instant, and that would be perfectly okay. How often do you get restationed? Basically every 3 to 4 years if you're active duty. Sometimes it could potentially be 2 years, but it's basically every 3 to 4 years. Josh, yeah, I haven't done extra training yet. Can you talk about what leadership is to you, please? So, James Deham. All right, so that's a pretty good question. So, leadership to me, I'm just going to talk about leadership kind of in the Army in general, kind of the challenges that you guys are going to face whenever you are at basic training. So, I'm going to kind of hone this all in to the basic training leadership experience, because it's going to be a struggle for those of you who are going to be leaders at basic training, because you're not going to be so used to being bossed around or told what to do, or told to do things that you don't want to do by your peers. And being a leader is being a leader is inspiring people to do, basically what you want them to do, right? So leading by example, and by doing various different things, getting people to do what you want to do, to make them feel like they want to actually do it for the better good of things. Whether you're telling them to go and let's all go clean this thing, and then getting them pumped up and ready to go and clean so that they can get done for the next thing, or not get smoked or whatever. But leadership is something really important at basic training. It's something that I feel like is one of those things that everybody has to get used to, because you just gotta get used to being told what to do by somebody who's potentially even younger than you, because that's kind of how it works in the military. So if you're joining the military like that previous person at age 30, a lot of your drill sergeants are going to be younger than you, right? So that's interesting. How hard is it to learn the ranking system? It's not hard at all. You can just look up. You can just look up the different ranks, the rank structure, and everything like that. All you need to know is really what it looks like, and then what you should call that person, whether it's a staff sergeant, a sergeant first class, first sergeant, or whatever. So that's really not that hard. That just takes a little bit of time to sit down, memorize it. It would be really beneficial for you to maybe get some flashcards or something and just test yourself on the different ranks, and all of that. think I saw Erica Burney in here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. It kind of went away. But we got, thanks, I'll look into it. Can you do a Q&A on AIT? Yeah, that would be a good idea. I haven't talked that much about AIT because I can talk really specifically about my specific one, which I probably should do. Just give you guys more of a better understanding of my experience back when I was at AIT, because a lot of different ones will be similar to that. I just don't do it because AIT, like there's a lot of different MOSs, and I only went to one AIT, right? But I feel like that's a good point that I probably should go more in depth on a lot of AIT topics on what the different privileges and stuff you are. I've talked about it before, but maybe going in depth on a few more things. We got Jonathan Porter over here. Can you choose where you are stationed in your contract in the Army? No. How easy is it to do in-state transfer in the National Guard? So basically, that's like a mixed bag of questions right there. So no, when you're initial enlistment, no, you're not going to get what station you're going to be at if you're active duty. If you're reserves or the Guard, that will be decided 100% whenever you enlist, right? You will know where you're going in the Guard and the reserves when you first enlist. And then whenever you're wanting to transfer from different units in the National Guard, is it easy? If the position is available and your chain of command likes you and they approve it, then yes, it's easy, but it'll probably still take a couple of months. But some people, it could be very hard because they might not be a great soldier and their chain of command maybe doesn't want them to go, or maybe they would want them to go because they're a bad soldier and they just want to kind of get that person out of their hair, or maybe the unit that you want to go to doesn't have your position available. So that's kind of like a mixed bag of questions or answers. Just to let you know, your videos have helped a lot of people I know. I appreciate that. It's kind of weird. It's good for me to hear those things because it's hard for me to fathom the amount of people. Like, there's 178 people watching this right now. Like, that is insane. I'm just in my room. When do you go to basic usually? When do you go to basic? Usually go after high school graduation. I don't really understand that. But like I said, over the summer, people generally are high school graduates, the majority of them. But later as you go, that's not the case. Gosh, there's so many. You guys are commenting a lot. Mark Estrella commented or super chatted 5. Oh man, that was a great super chat. And I think I missed a super chat. Yeah, Pixels. I get knee pain from running. What's the best way to get rid of it before basic? Like, should I keep running on it or walking? I think it kind of depends on how long you have until basic training in your current condition, right? So if you've got plenty of time until you go to basic training, I would definitely suggest resting your knee, icing it, doing what you got to do, wearing a knee brace for a little while. Just like try to let it fully heal and then get back into your training. Or maybe instead of doing some running, that is whenever I say it's okay if you want to do like ellipticals or ride a bike or whatever, because doing ellipticals and bikes and everything is great if you want to lose some calories and things like that. But whenever you're training for the 2-mile run in the Army for the PT test, you need to actually run to improve that, right? Especially the higher, more physically fit you get, the less an elliptical is going to help your cardio. So yeah, depending on how long you have, if you are leaving in like 3 weeks and you have really bad knee pain right now, I would suggest honestly just like resting until like a couple days before, and then trying to run again a little bit, just because you don't want to go to basic training when you're injured, because you don't want to get recycled. It would be much better for you to have an injury now, I guess, and then push back the basic training date than get to basic training date, your knee hurts, and then you get stuck at basic training for like several months because you re-injured your knee even worse. Can you leave to go places while in AIT, or no, you can't leave? It depends on what phase you are in. So this is a stream about basic training, but real quickly, in AIT, there's generally going to be 3 phases. You got phase 4, phase 5, and phase 5 plus. I actually talked about this with me and Robbie Boyd's video that we did about his 68 Charlie MOS. But phase 4 basically means you've got the least amount of privileges. You can go around the base. This is from my case of being at Fort Gordon, Georgia. You can go around the base, but you have to be with other battle buddies. For our case, it was 4 people. So you got to be in a group of 4 in your uniform. You couldn't wear civilian clothes yet. You couldn't eat at the civilian places, but you could go to like the gym. You could go to the PX, but again, you had to go in a group of 4. When you got to phase 5, then you could basically go anywhere on post. You could wear your civilian clothes. You could eat civilian food. And then once you reach phase 5 plus, which for us, you didn't reach until at 11 weeks. So after the 10th week, which meant on your 11th week, was the earliest that you could get phase 5 plus. And that meant you could go off post on the weekend. So that was the only difference between phase 5 and phase 5 plus, is you could go off post on the weekend, and we would do that. We would go to the mall. We would go out to eat at different places, and all that jazz. But that varies a little bit based on your MOS, because my MOS, the training was 21 weeks long, so it was a little bit longer. A lot of people might not get the chance to go off post if they have a shorter AIT. What if you get a fever at basic training? You're going to have to stick it out or go to sick call and then maybe get a profile for it. There's not really much you can do. If you're sick and it's really bad and it's going to hinder you from doing things, or if it's like really bad and you're like throwing up all over the place, they might kind of send you somewhere because they won't want to get everybody else sick in the platoon. But you just kind of have to deal with it. If you get sick at basic, you just kind of have to deal with it. Go to sick call and everything. What's your opinion on foreign militaries, mostly Canada? Again, we're talking about basic training this live stream, but I think they're fine. Obviously, the ones that we are friends with. I literally do think that the United States military is by far the best military, especially all around when you consider the whole spectrum of our military. It's way better than anything else. You can say any other country, and we're way better. How drill sergeants teach soldiers to do push-ups for those that don't know how to do a single one when they arrive. So every PT test, before a PT test, there will be a demonstration on how to do a proper push-up and how to do the proper sit-ups for the test. And then, just for PT in the mornings, the drill sergeants will kind of be walking around, and if they see you doing skimpy push-ups, then they might yell at you and be like, go down all the way kind of thing. So that's kind of just how you do it. It's pretty, self-explanatory. Whenever you're doing the actual PT test, if you're doing the push-ups and you're doing the PT test, if you're just doing really bad form push-ups, what will happen is the drill sergeant is going to stop you. He's going to tell you what you're doing wrong and how to do better for your push-ups, and then you'll go back to the back of the line, and then you'll come back and do push-ups again. So there's a little bit of coaching, but if you're really bad, some drill sergeant's going to pull you off to the side and be like, well, not necessarily pull you off to the side, but some drill sergeant is going to basically help you out. When is the best age to talk to a recruiter during high school? The best age to talk to a recruiter, period, is when you are ready to join, or when you actually want to figure out some information. If you're wanting to talk to a recruiter before the age of 16, I would say no. Why would you do that? Because you can't even get into any kind of program or anything. But if you're like super wanting to join at like 17 years old, then maybe talking to a recruiter at the end of like your 16th year or whatever of being alive. If you're super wanting to do that and you want to do split ops. Did I hate the Army? No, I don't think I would have this channel if I hated the Army. That's what's up. Kenzie Wilson, boyfriend is at Fort Benning right now. I send letters all the time, but he hasn't written back that often. Why is that? And only had 2 phone calls. Well, that sounds like you have a very common experience as a family member, because the reason he hasn't written you back a lot is because he probably doesn't have the time. It's probably because he is legitimately busy and can't find, a few minutes. Probably in the letters that he's written you, he's probably written, bits and pieces over different periods of time. Like he'd be like, writing this and be like, oh, gotta go, and then finish the letter, because you don't always have a lot of time. And then if you've gotten 2 phone calls, then I assume he's still pretty early into basic training. Let me see here. Only informs when you throw 2 grenades. Yeah, I don't think they use M16s anymore. I used an M16 when I was at basic. I was like one of the last people to use some M16s. Most people are using M4s. What's your favorite obstacle, and what was your favorite obstacle at but, and what if you can't pass the PC test? So I think there's a little bit of misspellings in there, but my favorite obstacle was definitely, probably, maybe, I don't know. I just like the one where you kind of climb, the super high ones, where you climb up a rope, and then you walk across this thing, and then you climb up a ladder, and then you go down a cargo net. I don't remember what it's called, but that one's probably the most fun because it's like the most thing to do. The Weaver, which you weave in and out of it, it's called the Weaver. That one's pretty fun, but it's probably one of the most difficult ones. And then if you can't pass your PT test, if you literally can't, then you won't pass. But you should pass. Don't worry about not passing. Just work your butt off. Where can I find how long AIT takes for a specific MOS? Literally Google, how long is blank MOS AIT? What's up, Gaming Blonde? Is anyone else here waiting to go to basic training? King Fits 330. I'm pretty sure there's a good number of people who are waiting here to go to basic training. So, I go to Mets tomorrow. I'm worried about blood pressure. You'll be fine. If you're worried about blood pressure, it's probably going to make your blood pressure go up, so don't worry about blood pressure. I don't think you can wear retainers and stuff like that. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can't. Unless they're a permanent retainer. Is there a way to know when you will be sent to basic before you enlist? I want to enlist, but I will also want to prepare a bit. I want to know if I will have enough time before I leave. Yes, obviously, before you enlist, when you enlist, you're signing a contract. And when you sign that contract, you will know when you're leaving. So, yes, you will know. So, if the time they give you is in like 3 weeks and you don't want to leave in 3 weeks, you want like 3 months to prepare, then hopefully you can pick a time 3 months from now, or tell them, hey, I can't leave right now for whatever reason. Because ultimately it's not like you're going to enlist before signing. Your act of signing your contract is you enlisting. The worst part of basic training is MF reception. Yeah, that's the thing. That would be like a great video title. What's the worst part about basic training? Is actually not basic training. It's actually reception, which is before basic training. Because the thing is reception is like so boring. You're not really doing anything. You're not even getting smoked. You're just, constantly getting yelled at, and the people are rude, and you're just not doing anything. And when you're at reception, you're just so freaking excited to get to basic training, to actually go and do something. And when you're at basic training, you're doing something all the time, all the time. You have a certain place to be, a certain uniform to be in. You got something to do every single day. You know what's coming up the next part of your day. And that's going to be one of the weirdest things when you come home after basic training, or after even, AIT and stuff, or when you go somewhere, especially those of you that are reserves or National Guard. Like when you come home after all of this, it's going to be really weird for the first while, and I asked my brother this because, if you guys know, he just finished his basic training and he's split up, so he's home now. And I told him, I was like, are you bored? Because at basic you have something to do all the time. You have a place to be, something to do all the time. And when you get home, you will realize, holy cow, I had a lot of free time. Man, I hope they wait for AIT to pull mine, but would be horrible getting them pulled during basic. I'm not sure. I guess you're talking about teeth. Yeah, that's another thing. whenever they check your teeth, a lot of people ask me if teeth is a big deal. Yeah, you cannot join the military with bad teeth, right? So they have it like 3 different classes. So class 1, class 2, class 3. Class 1, you're good. You got good teeth. Class 2 is you got pretty good teeth, and a few things might need a little bit of work. Class 3 is you are red. You are a no-go. Like, you're gonna have to. You're not gonna be able to join with class 3. You're gonna have to get teeth pulled, or you're gonna have to get something fixed. So that, yes, that's important. And then if you do have wisdom teeth and stuff, they will try to pull it. But like you said, they're not generally going to pull it at the beginning of basic training. What they do for a lot of people is at the very beginning of AIT, which I haven't even thought about this in literally forever. But at the very beginning of AIT, when you first get to AIT, they are going to pull like everybody's teeth. Like everybody that had to get teeth pulled. I can't remember specifically because it was like a couple, like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. But like they basically had everybody that had to get teeth pulled. They all went to the dentist thing and got their teeth pulled. And like everybody's like, what do you think about starting at 25 years old? I think that is way better than starting at 35 years old. So start at 25 if you want to start at 25, so that you don't ask the same question about being 27 and then 29 and then 30 and then. But yeah, 25 is not as old as you think. I am 25, and yeah, I joined at 22. Technically, I literally left on my 22nd birthday. Does basic go by fast? No. Basic goes by extremely slow. And then you get to the end of basic training, you're like, wow, that was really fast. But I'm telling you, basic training will feel really slow. It will feel like you're never going to finish because the days are very long. The days are long. You're going to wake up early. You're going to go to bed fairly late. You're always going to be doing stuff. So every day you're going to have a lot of things that you're doing, and it just feels like a lot. The best way to make time go by faster is by counting your meals. So when you wake up in the morning, it's like, all right, we're going to do PT, then we're going to go have breakfast, and then look forward to lunch. And then you're going to have lunch, and you'll be like, all right, all we have to do is have dinner chow, and then we're going to have dinner chow, and then you're ready for the next day. And then so when you're tracking your meals, it makes things go by a little bit faster. But basic training, like it will kind of feel like it's never going to end. After even like week 5 or 6, you're just like, man, we have been here for ages, forever. I remember, I think it was like my first phone call home, like actual phone call, not just like the one little 1 minute phone call. My first phone call home was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks out. And I remember saying like, I told my family or whatever, because I was on speakerphone, and I was like, man, it feels like forever. Like it was just like, it feels like forever. And I remember my sister saying, like, you've only been gone for like a few weeks, but like to you, it's going to feel like you have been gone for a while. At least that's how it was for my case. I think that's how it was for other people. It feels like forever, but obviously, like most things in life, once you finish it, you're like, oh wow, that went by fast. When you graduate high school, it's like, man, that went by really fast. When you graduate college, it's like, man, that went by really fast. So obviously those 10 weeks will feel fast at the end. I've been watching your videos since, Jorge Cuevas Jr. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Hey man, I've been watching videos since August 23rd, when your brother graduated from basic training. So did you see that vlog? I'm assuming maybe that's how you found it. But I just want to thank you for your videos. You're really helpful. Down from 260 to 249 pounds this morning. That is awesome. Keep up the good work, right? So that progress, just keep having progress, keep staying consistent. If you're one of those people out there and you're trying to lose weight so that you can join, just keep pushing, keep doing your thing, and you will get there. And then once you reach that weight, kind of keep going, so you're not always going to be that person who's having to get taped. Are you signing your life away when you're joining? Yes, you are signing your life away. In the most okay sense, because literally you are like signing, like you are saying, hey, I will do whatever the country needs me to do, right? When you get a job somewhere else, you're not saying, I will do absolutely everything that this company wants me to do, and you're not saying that even if I want to quit, I can't quit. You can't do that in the Army. When you sign to join, you are basically, again, signing your life away, which sounds negative, but it's, it's part of the sacrifice for joining the military. You can't quit whenever you want like you can in a normal job. You can't just run away. That's going AWOL, and that is still punishable by death, but they're not going to do that. Basically, especially if you run away from basic training, they'll say, oh, it's punishable by death. Like, do you really think that they're going to give somebody the death penalty because they, in their first 3 weeks of basic training, wanted to run away? How much easier or harder are the other branches? So in order of hardest to easiest, I would say Marines are the hardest, then the Army. Those are definitely the two because those are both like more combat related things. And then from what I know, the next one would be Navy and then the Air Force, right? And then the Air Force. I just want to make that very clear that I would think that from what I know from people who've been to the Air Force and been confirmed what you do, the Air Force basic training, super piece of cake, especially compared to the Army's. Anyways, how to keep training with bad blisters in boots. You just got to keep doing it. You got to put moleskin on your feet. Moleskin is something that will help prevent blisters if you have them, and it will help make them not get worse. So moleskin on your feet is how you can kind of keep going with blisters. So make sure you get some moleskin. I would recommend possibly bringing some moleskin. I know we couldn't bring it whenever I left, but it is totally worth the $5 to go and buy some moleskin at Walmart or Target or something, just in case you can have it. Moleskin will be super important. Is basic training for Air Force, Army, and Navy similar? So kind of similar to what I said before. No, they are not similar whatsoever. Obviously some of the marching things, but like as far as the structure, from what I've seen from the multiple people that have gone through, no, it is not. Like the Marines and the Army are more combat-centric branches, so that's kind of more how the basic training is. Whereas the Air Force, for example, it's a lot more book work, and then they have like a small phase where you kind of do some stuff, but you don't go through walking throughout the woods and sleep and dig dirt holes and things like that. And yeah, you don't do that. Do you think it's Mitch? Do you think shipping off and starting on active duty career at 18 years old is bad? I ship out the day after my high school graduation. No, I don't think that's bad. I probably wouldn't have done it the day after my high school graduation, especially, if you were going to active duty, I would have been like, all right, let me just have 2 weeks of summer and then start. That's kind of what I would have done, but it's not the end of the world. So, but it's not a bad idea. One of the things that I've talked about is I wish I would have had. I first talked to a recruiter when I was 18, and again, long story short, my dad basically talked me out of joining, and I wish I would have joined at 18 and not 22. So, anyways, are drill sergeants allowed to hit you? The only time a drill sergeant is allowed to hit you or push you or put their hands on you is during the grenade range. Right? During the grenade range, the drill sergeants can hit you even when you're throwing the practice grenades because they have to make it feel like this is real. That's the only time. So if you look up certain videos or something, you can see drill sergeants pushing somebody. It's always going to be whenever they're throwing a grenade, because when you throw a grenade, you throw it and you're supposed to get down. Well, a lot of people, they'll throw their grenade, they'll look at it to see how far they throw it. They're like, oh, I threw that super far. And while they're thinking that, they're not remembering, oh crap, I'm supposed to get down. And then before you know it, a drill sergeant's going to come and throw them on the floor. So, and they will love that. The other time that a drill sergeant can hit you is whenever you are leaving the range. So every time you leave the range, you have to check for brass and ammo, right? So you go on the range. They're going to give these privates, these people who don't know really what they're doing that much, they're going to give them live rounds, and they're going to have actual weapons, right? They're going to have actual M4s. So obviously, if they wanted to do something bad, they could do something bad. So every time you leave the range, you have to take off your stuff. empty out all your pockets and everything. And the drill sergeants will come around and they'll check everybody. They'll check your pockets and everything whenever you're leaving the range. And what they'll do is they will literally hit you. Like you're going to be standing here like this, and you're going to say, "No brass, no ammo, drill sergeant." And what they're going to do is you're going to have pockets on your shoulders, you're going to have pockets on your chest, and they are going to basically push you / hit you on your arms and stuff, because that's when it's kind of valid for them to do that. And drill sergeants love doing that. So and I mean, they will, especially if you're a smaller person. I mean, drill sergeant is going to really just push you on your chest, hit you really hard, slap your arms down really hard. So that's kind of whenever they do that, and that's going to happen every single time. Do they do combatives at Fort Jackson? I hope so. But if you watch my videos that I've done with my brothers, both of my brothers went to Fort Jackson. I went to Fort Benning. I did more. We didn't even do that much. We didn't do as much as we were supposed to. But I did more combatives at Benning than they did at Jackson. And from what I've heard, they just don't do as much at Jackson. If you're not infantry, their mindset as drill sergeants is not to train you. They're just different, right? So when you're infantry, you're going to basic training with a bunch of infantry people like that. You're going with a bunch of infantry people. When you're not infantry, you're not going to be going to basic training with a whole bunch of infantry people. So the drill sergeants, even though they're supposed to train you the same, obviously their mindset is going to be okay, these people are infantry, these people are not. Make sure we really kind of nail down combatives and rifle marksmanship with these people. And with these people, let's just make sure they get the basics down. That's kind of how it is. During Christmas, do I go home if I'm still at basic? Yes. I'll probably make a video about that sometime soon, just because a lot of you are going to basic training soon. And if you're going to be at basic training during the home block leave, aka Christmas, then you will come home for those 2 weeks. So you will be very happy about that. We got Caesar with the $1 super chat. Just finished basic training September 6th, Fort Jackson 161. My boyfriend went to Jackson, and he said he did more combatives a couple years ago than what they apparently do now. Yeah, I mean, he could have had a cycle where they do more. I mean, cycles will vary. Literally, they will vary because commanders are the ones kind of making the schedule. So what happens is, at basic training, you got all the different battalions across all the different basic training posts, and you have battalions with battalion commanders. They have something that they want to do. And then you have the companies with the company commanders, and they're kind of the ones kind of making the schedule for the basic training cycle. And so things can vary. So, let's say something comes up and you have to either not do this one training that's important or do combatives. A lot of times they might say, let's not do combatives and do this other training that's more important than combatives, right? So, that could be a thing. Is it possible to stay at basic training during Christmas? I don't think so. I don't think it's possible to stay at basic training during Christmas for basic training, but for AIT it is. You can choose to stay at AIT over Christmas, and they will put everybody into a holding / building or whatever. What's the story with the cadet forces? I'm not really sure what that means. Oh my gosh. You'll love MP. It's like Call of Duty meets cops. Do you get to go home after AIT? If you're guard or reserves, then yes, definitely. If you're active duty, you can choose to do hometown recruiting, which would be basically 2 weeks of hometown. So you'd be at home, but you would go to the recruiter's office and basically be a recruiter and shadow recruiter for 2 weeks, which is what a lot of people do. So you could do that. Does how long your AIT depend on your MOS? Yes, definitely. right? So like if you're wanting to be, for example, a 68 Charlie, a nursing specialist, nursing assistant, whatever that specific one is, but you know, that's like 53 weeks. It's like 50 weeks. It's a lot of time of AIT. Whereas if you're wanting to, I don't know, be a 25 uniform and deal with radios, you know, being a nurse, you're going to have a lot of things you got to learn and everything. So, is it hard to join when you're age 30? You know, the physical aspects obviously might be a little bit harder, but again, for people that are older, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But the good thing is you're going to have a little bit of maturity and life experience on the younger people, and that could be a good thing. That will make things a little bit better. You might be able to put things into perspective a little bit better than some of these other 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I'm 68 whiskey. Mine is going to be 20 weeks. Yeah, 20 weeks is pretty long. The thing about having a longer AIT, mine was 20 weeks, 4 days, so it's basically 21 weeks. And once you reach the halfway point of like 20 weeks, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I went through an entire whole section of basic training this time being at AIT. So what that means is you're going to be at AIT. If your AIT is basically longer than 11 weeks, then you're going to be at AIT, and there's going to be people who will show up to AIT for their first week or something, and you're going to be like, wow, like they didn't even get to basic training, and I've been here at AIT this whole time. So I got a text message. Anyways, how intensive is learning a language in the military? They're not going to make you learn a language. The only one that I know of that makes you do that is Special Forces. They will assign you one. Did I go to OCS? No, I did ROTC. I enlisted, and then I did ROTC. Why is my AIT 6 months long as a 25 Bravo? Are you sure 25 Bravo is 6 months long? Unless something has changed. That would be crazy if it is 25. I'm typing here. Oh, wow. When you type in 25 Bravo, guess whose video comes up? That's kind of funny. This says it's 17 weeks. There's no way. It's changed. But yeah, I don't think 25 Bravo is definitely not 6 months for sure. I don't know what I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, probably what you're talking about is you're probably thinking of combining basic training and AIT together, which would total about 6 months in that instance. Can you pick where you're stationed? No, I answered that before in the stream. How's 25 uniform? 25 uniform is pretty good. It would be the one that I would have picked if I wasn't 25 Bravo. And 25 uniform is also a very highly sought after MOS that a lot of units need, which means you're going to get to go to a lot of places. That can be something that recruiters will tell you a lot of times. Be like, oh, with this MOS, you know, you can kind of go anywhere, any unit or whatever you want. 25 uniform is basically one of those MOSs where you can pretty much go anywhere. Thanks for letting me know about me not being in the oldest. For me going in as an E2, 31 Bravo, and 33 college credits. What's the highest rank I can get after basic training in AIT in your opinion? If you're going in as an E2, the highest rank you're going to get if you get promoted is an E3. That's it. They don't do promotions like they do at AIT, like they do at basic training. At basic training, they will promote, you know, for example, just pulling numbers here, they'll promote 5 people to E2, and they'll promote 5 people to E3, right? They don't promote to E4 during the initial enlistment thing unless your time in service grants that. So I don't know if you're saying you're active duty or reserves or guard or whatever, but let's say you were reserves and, you know, you, I don't know, joined as a E3 and then you did split ops and then you came home, and then when you came to AIT, then in AIT your time in service says that you should get promoted to specialist. That's a time in service thing, but they're not going to promote you otherwise. Which happened to one guy at my AIT because my AIT was pretty long. Do you get to go home during Thanksgiving? No. And I do have a video on what Thanksgiving is like So that'll be a pretty good video for you guys to watch. I did that last year, what Thanksgiving is like. Maybe it'll get a little bit, pick up more views this Thanksgiving. Because they do a little special something, which is kind of special, but it's not that special for Thanksgiving. I talked about the best part of basic training at the very beginning of this video. Can your wife stay where you are stationed? Yes, as long as it is stateside. As long as it is CONUS. If you see CONUS and OCONUS, continental United States is the CONUS. So as long as it's stateside, you're not like deployed in Afghanistan or something, like your sibling, you're not your siblings, your wife or husband can't come with you. But if you get stationed in the U.S., yeah. What do you mean 68 whiskey or 68 Charlie? If you like action, go 68 whiskey. Any advice for me? I'm 14. I want to go to West Point for college to join the Army. If you want to go to West Point, my advice for you is get a very high GPA in high school. Do ROTC in high school if you can. Do Boy Scouts or something. Be an Eagle Scout if you can. Do absolutely everything that you can to get accepted into West Point. Have a very high physical fitness level, and that's what you should do. Places like West Point versus ROTC, what is the difference? The difference is everything. So, I don't specifically know anybody that I could do a video with about West Point besides me just kind of doing one from research and stuff, because there is a good amount of information out there on West Point. You can look up people's videos on YouTube about West Point. You can do that. But West Point and ROTC are different. So whenever you commission through West Point, it's different than commissioning through ROTC. The same thing as like OCS. Like, it's not really the same pool of people. So, yeah, they're totally different. So if I were to talk about the differences, it'd be a lot of differences. Do they pay for travel during Christmas Exodus? Yes. But the thing is you are going to have to take off 2 weeks of leave, right? So, you're going to go into the negative on that as well. So let's say you join and you go to basic training in November, and then over December, it's only been a month and a half since you've been in, which means you've only accumulated about 3.5, maybe 4 days of leave time. But they're going to make you take 2 weeks of leave, which means you don't have 2 weeks of leave. You only have like 4 days of leave. So you're going to basically be negative on your leave days once you get back, and you're going to have to earn those leave days back. So, which you should be able to do by the end of your AIT, depending on how long your AIT is, but then you'll be kind of like breaking even. But that's kind of one of the negatives and positives to going to basic training over the winter. You get to go home for a little bit. But favorite cadence, I don't know if I have a favorite cadence. I've gotten asked that a lot. I just don't know what my favorite cadence is. What is West Point? The West Point is a very old way that the Army got its officers, right? So ROTC was like an after West Point. So you had military academies, the West Point Military Academy. So it'd be like, there's like an acronym thing for the USMA, USPMA, something like that. I don't know. But the West Point Military Academy is just a different way that the Army gets its officers. It is not like college, but it is like college. It's like a military academies are like military colleges. They're going to have to wear their uniform every day. They're going to be doing all kinds of stuff, whereas ROTC, you're a college student and then you're doing ROTC. West Point is more like you're going to join the military and then you're doing college. It's kind of how that works. What's your current rank? I'm a second lieutenant. In the background of my videos, which now the background of my videos is right here, you can see the little butter bar, the little blue bar, or not blue bar, gold bar. That'd be weird if it was a blue bar. That would just be weird. What is the hardest class in the 25 Bravo series at Fort Gordon? the hardest class would have to be either CCNA 2 or Security Plus. Those would be the two hardest classes. Most people would probably say Security Plus, but CCNA 2 is way harder than CCNA 1. Are you a star 2 or 3? I don't know what that means. Do you feel it's worth retiring in the Army or better to just serve a few years? Totally depends on what you want to do in your life, but I think if you like the Army, there's really the best option ever is, if you go active duty and you're like, I like the Army, but I don't like it that much to be active duty and I want to do this other thing, then get out, do reserves or do guard, and then retire that way. The retirement checks are not as much in the reserves and the guard, but whenever you turn 60 years old, which retirement in the reserves and the guard, you get that when you're 60, whereas whenever you're active duty, you get it when you retire. So let's say you retire at age 40, you're going to get your retirement then. But let's say you're 60 years old and you're going to get an extra, $1,500 a month from your reserve retirement. I guarantee you, when you are 60 years old, you will be very happy that you did that. And it'll probably be even more than that because of the way it'll be the way money works and inflation and all that kind of jazz. Because when you retire, the amount of paycheck you get is going to go up every year, just like the actual Army pay is going to go up every year. So it's like if you get $1,500, so it's like if you're in the reserves and you retire in the reserves and you get $1,500 a month, it's not going to be $1,500 a month forever. It'll be like $1,550 the next year, then it'll be $1,600, then it'll be $1,650, then it'll be $1,700 a year, just because of inflation and like the 3% raise that we get every year. I literally just answered what my rank was, like literally 5 minutes ago, and it is second lieutenant. So, do you know hand-to-hand combat? Yes, but not because of the Army necessarily, just because I've done MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing and things like that on my own. The Army didn't really teach me that much. I'm telling you, so one of the reasons I got into MMA was whenever I found out whenever I wanted to join, like right then, I basically started doing MMA training classes, and I was like, I know at basic training they teach you combatives and all this stuff, so I want to have a little bit of, fighting experience before I go. They don't teach you that much. It's like the 4 or 5 months of training that I had before basic training in fighting was way more than way more. Like, it's just like the first couple of classes, like they're not going to teach you that much. There's going to be a couple of combative sessions that are going to be a couple hours long, and that's kind of going to be it. If you watch those videos of combatives, of people at basic training, and they're like, oh man, these people they know what they're doing, or any other promo videos that you see two Marines going at it, or you see 2 Army soldiers going at it, and they really know what they're doing. And people if I join the Army, I'm going to be really good at fighting just like that. No, what's more than likely the case is either one, they did do combatives level 1, 2, or 3 training in the Army, but more than likely that's just something that they like to do, and just 2 people who've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while have joined the Army, and then they do the combatives contest tournament or whatever, and they're just better than everybody else because they have 5 or 6 years of experience. On how to skip a rank. You cannot skip a rank. I'm a Lance Corporal. How do you... Yeah, you can't... I'm reading that right. Yeah, you can't skip a rank. You can't just jump from one rank to the next, right? The only real rank jumping you can do is what I did, which is I went from... my whole rank progression in the Army so far is I enlisted as an E3, then I was promoted to a specialist, which is an E4, then I contracted as a cadet, which gets paid as an E5, and then I commissioned as an officer, so then I went 01, and so that was the big jump. Like I skipped like several different ranks. You skipped from E6, E7, E8, E9, W1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I was 01. That's how the rank structure works. You got enlisted, then you got warrant, and then you got officers. So that's really the only time you're going to skip a rank. You know, back in the day, back in the old days of the Army, yeah, they would literally just kind of promote people to like a super high rank because they're like, yeah, you're smart. Let's promote you to freaking lieutenant colonel or something. Joseph R. I love your optimism. And I don't think I am. Do you have time to zero your weapon before weapons qual once you get to your unit? Yes, you will zero your weapon every single time you qualify. Every single time you qualify, you will get to zero your weapon. Can you request to be recycled in basic training? No. Be more motivated that. Don't even think about that. You won't even learn combatives level 1 in base. Like, you're not going to be qualified at combatives level 1. Like, you'll learn combatives level 1, but you're not going to be qualified. Like, you're going to learn the basic positions, maybe an arm bar or something, but, like, nothing crazy. Do you need good grades for Marines? You just need the ASVAB. Let's do a massive meetup in New York. That would be cool, but I don't live in New York. The daily life in the military varies from unit to unit, from MOS to MOS, and from everything to everything. That's probably one of the hardest questions. The only thing you can never say what is a day in the life of this MOS going to be like, because you won't know that. Like, the only thing that you can do is what is a day in the life of my life in this MOS, in this specific unit like. It's going to vary. You know, certain things might overlap, but people ask, you know, what is it going to be like whenever I do this MOS in the Army? It's like, well, first of all, it totally depends on what unit you go to, what position you're going to be at, what level of unit. Are you going to be at a company level, battalion level, whatever. After basic, how do you go about getting into various specialty schools in the Army, Airborne, Air Assault, Sniper, Dive? So again, it depends on your MOS. It depends on your unit. You need to have a high PT score, preferably a 300, and possibly a good marksmanship score, because they will also look at that. So if you shoot expert, that's also really good. And then you need to keep your eyes open, and you kind of need to let them know that if it comes up that you want it, and that's kind of how you're gonna do it. So just have a conversation with somebody and cross your fingers for who knows how long. What are your thoughts on the new PT test? I have talked about that a lot. I got a video on it. But my thoughts on the new PT test is it is a overall pretty good test, but the standard is way too low. The standard is way too low. That is my thoughts. I think they should have 3 age tiers, not just a 1 age tier. The gender neutral is fine. I think they should have 3 age tiers, basically, I don't know, 17 to 30, or 17 to 29, 30 to 39, and then 40 to however older. I think those should be the 3 age tiers. And if they did that, that would be great. What are the differences starting in E3 to an E1 in basic training other than pay? In basic training, absolutely nothing. Just the fact that you have it on your chest is basically going to be the only difference. And then other privates will know, hey, that person has maybe a little bit of college. That is the only difference. Drill sergeants will call everybody privates no matter what. If you're a specialist and you're at basic training, a drill sergeant is not going to call you specialist. He's going to call you private. So it doesn't matter that much. The pay is the biggest thing. What's up, man? Should Army basic training be more like Marine Corps boot camp? You're saying, should it be more like it? I mean, for me, I think the harder things are, the better, because you're going to get better training out of it. So, I mean, more discipline, the better as well. That's one of the good things that's one of the things that you will miss about basic training, is like how disciplined people are, how structured it is. Because when you leave that, you're going to be like, man, this is really unstructured. Man, people don't know what they're doing. Man, people, like, yeah. So, do I need my high school diploma to join the military? I am grade 12 and going to be of age next year in the summer. I plan to go in the military in December. Yes, you need a high school diploma or a GED. The difference being, if you have a high school diploma, the minimum ASVAB score is, I believe, 31. If you have a GED, the minimum ASVAB score, I believe, I don't know exactly what this one is. I think it's like 50 or 51 or something. So if you have a GED, the minimum ASVAB score is higher. And man, I have been live streaming for a long time. I said at the beginning of this, I was like, this is going to be like a 30-minute live stream. What do you know? It's an hour and 10 minutes long. So before I go, I'm going to, so I have been doing a little bit of brainstorming. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I want to do on this channel. A lot of things I want to accomplish via YouTube and stuff over the coming months, the coming year. And before I go, I haven't done this in a while. I used to do this sometimes, not that I've ran out of ideas, because I have literally a big list of ideas, and it adds up on the daily. But I'm always curious what you guys want to see, any questions or things I haven't covered. That is what I want to ask you guys right now. So leave a comment of something that you would like me to do a video on, because the purpose of this channel is to answer your guys' questions about the whole joining and enlisting and all that stuff. But I have I'm ready to get back into the grind of uploading, more. But, my computer issue's all jacked up because, if you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. Can you start parsing workouts? I'm trying to get bigger, stronger, and have better endurance to be a firefighter, not for the Army. That could be something. The only thing is I just need to find some time. That is the problem, because when I go to the gym, I just need to go to the gym and get a workout in. So, you're getting pinned E6 on November 1st. That is awesome. Congrats. I'm going to do a video on special operations. I'm still waiting to do the video on RASP. AIT. A diet video. Okay. How you would learn more combatives, because there is different combatives level training. Combatives 1, 2, 3. I don't think there's a higher one than 3. Can you talk about if you should accept a bonus? Yes, I've talked about it, and yes, 1,000 million billion %. Yes, you should accept a bonus. Yes. You will be throwing away free money if you do not accept the bonus. All you got to do is fulfill your contract, and you can have that bonus. For the people that say you're not going to get the bonus, that is a rare thing, because something got messed up in paperwork. But it's like, should you drive a car because you could die? No. I mean, yes, you should drive a car because the odds of it happening are very low. I hope y'all got that. Can I talk more about becoming an officer? SCRA, yeah, I put that on my notes the other day. Keep up the videos. Everyone likes them. This channel is the best for military stuff. I appreciate that, Tristan. I really do. But yeah, I'm making mental notes. Can you get 2 bonuses? You can get an enlistment bonus and a re-enlistment bonus, but your re-enlistment bonus is going to be on re-enlistment. Security clearance, top secret clearance, maybe. Like they even made my buddy's wife get a top secret clearance. So a video on the clearances, maybe. Is it true active duty need the National Guard? Yes. Active duty needs all branches, but so reserve and guard support active duty as well. So if we didn't have the reserves and we didn't have the guard, it would not be as good. Video on the Army ranks and Soldier's Creed. I got a video on the Army ranks. And Soldier's Creed. What do you mean do a video on the Soldier's Creed? Spouse of Soldier video. I appreciate that y'all like this channel because I really do. Alright, I got some ideas. Which little brother? I have one little brother who's active duty and one little brother who is reserves. Fist fighting units in both world wars were guard. First fighting units in both. Okay. Is there programs in the Army that help you get a high school diploma or a GED? Well, they wouldn't be like Army programs because you wouldn't be in the Army yet if you don't have those. So I would say no, but I don't know anything for sure for that. Because like the Army's not going to invest time and money into you if you haven't given them anything, right? So if you're like, right, hey Army, you know, can you help me out and get this thing that I want? And you haven't, you know, you're not going to sign a contract or anything because you haven't qualified to join yet if you don't have it. How does one become a guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? I could talk about like the honor guard and stuff because I do have a friend who's in the honor guard. You deserve 10 million subs, man. I appreciate you. I think what I have right now is what I deserve. I feel like as I grow, then that grows with me. That is something that I want to talk about too, is promotions and actually what the whole, how you get promoted at different ranks, and then officer promotions, because officer promotions and enlisted are a lot different, and what you require to be promoted. Okay, I think that's it for me. An hour and 15 minutes. It was supposed to be a 30-minute live stream, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I answered a lot of questions, talked a lot about basic training in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry I'm late, David L. I'm getting off right now. Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about. WLC, all the other different things, ERBs, all the different things that you have to do, all the reviews and stuff that you get from higher ups, and how that plays a role in everything. So anyways, that is it for this live stream. I hope you guys have a good one. Wish me luck with building my computer. John, hey, I'm getting off. But yeah, so that is it. That is it. You guys keep asking questions, and I gotta go. Hope you all have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow on the push-up video.